Welcome, Rattler Battalion, to Actions on Objective. This is everything that happens once we reach that LOA. Just to say, the reason why we're doing this is so that you become tactically proficient enough before camp, so that once you get to camp, you don't have to worry about tactics anymore. You only have to worry about demonstrating your leadership skills to the best of your ability. So now, we're gonna start off with breaking it all down into every single section. First, we're gonna start off with the SEALs. Let's first set up the battlefield. What's going on? We just pushed through this objective right here. Our assault cell, commanded by our assault cell leader, or AKA first squad leader, has already reached the LOA. A good TTP to have is to have that PL one phase line behind your assaulting squad. Sometimes you hear that the PL is over here at the support by fire location. They're not able to properly keep a full pulse on the entire operation by being behind this support by fire. I personally like to have them one phase line behind, so that once we hit that LOA, we already start getting to actions on objective, on the actions that happen after. And then two phase lines behind, AKA our breach point. You can watch some of this in our attack video coming up. So two phase lines behind, or the breach point, we have the PSG/medic. So when they are fully out of the fight, so there's no possibility of our PSG or medic possibly going down. Strong side security over here. Let's say there's a road, most likely, and let's say the weak side security, maybe there's a town coming off over there. Maybe that's gonna be our best way of, or the most likely area for enemy to come in to the objective. So we'll have our support by fire here. It's not necessarily on the objective. So we're gonna talk about what are the steps that we kind of have to start breaking down for right as we hit LOA and our assault cell leader says, LOA, what do we first have to do? Well, let's start off with our SEALs. SEAL stands for stop, look, listen, smell. Now, usually this is a TTP I like to enact where you just do this for a couple of seconds, maybe a minute or so, to listen for any possible further enemy, because maybe you didn't reach the end, the last final enemy that you should have gone to. So you're listening for moans and groans, you're looking out for the enemy, you're listening for the enemy, you're smelling for the enemy, because you want to make sure you've absolutely cleared this objective where you've assaulted through the entirety of the objective. So now we've performed SEALs. Everyone stopped, nobody moved a single inch. And now we're gonna go on ACE. ACE reports. I've already talked about this, but the difference between ACE and LACE is ACE is done on the objective. LACE reports are done in a patrol base when you can actually do something about it. Right now, we're worried mostly about QRF and the amount of people we have down, the equipment that we have to our disposal, and the ammo that we have in our weapons is more important to take down this QRF than whatever kind of possible water we have. Water comes at patrol bases. That's where we can actually fix something and do a water resupply. So we're gonna do our ACE reports. The PL is gonna get an ACE report from our entire assault cell. They're also gonna get it from weak side security, strong side security, the support by fire element, and they're also gonna get it from the PSG and medic. We need to make sure that we're getting it from everyone as possible so we can start making those leader decisions as the PL. One of the things that a lot of people bring up whenever we're talking about LOA is security. They're like, oh, the first thing we do is security. No, we've always done security. There was not a single point in which we didn't pull security, because if you don't have security, then you are having a no-go, because that's breaking one of our principles of patrolling. You do not want to break that principle of patrolling. So you already have security because they're looking forward. Your PSG is going to be pulling your rear. You have your support by fire, and your security pulling weak side and strong side out on the road where QRF is most likely. So whenever someone says, oh, first thing we do, pull 360 security, security should have already been made. But if you're going to turn these people around to different directions, they should be saws on the end of your assault cell. Just turn around, and that's all you have to turn around. The problem I see so consistently is when people talk about pulling security, they get on the LOA security, and a bunch of people start running around this objective as if we have to make a massive circle around the objective. No, that's horrible. We haven't cleared the objective of any threats. There could still be threats on this objective, and people are running across it. That's a horrible idea. That's how people are going to get hurt. So turn these people around. Then we've got our ACE reports. We've heard the casualties, no casualties, or there are some casualties. And I've talked about this, how that's when we're going to start breaking down EPW. So let's get into that. So EPW and aid and litter, we're going to kind of talk about them kind of together, because there's a certain SOP or TTP that I like to perform that I think gets rid of some of the mistakes that we make here in Cadet Command. So let's move this strong side security a little bit over here. Strong side security. So let's talk about EPW and then aid and litter. So what happens is we break down EPW into clear and search. So we have our clear and we have our search. Now this is usually for dead EPW when you have no live EPW. When there's live EPW, that's a little bit different. As you're assaulting and you find a live EPW, instead of everyone online pushing through, you're gonna have either a battle buddy pair stay with that one person, so then if they are to make a ruckus and possibly turn and try to shoot someone on the assaulting line that's pushing through past them, there's someone already trained on them to take them down, to close it and destroy it if need be. So that's how you're really going to take care of live EPW. And then in this clear and search, that's when you are going to make sure to search, silence, segregate, safeguard, and speed to the rear. And that's usually going to go here to your PSG at your breach point, or we're going to talk about later, your CCP. So that's what's going to happen in case of live EPW. We had a couple of those at camp. You just you do exactly the 5 S's, and then usually they'll be like, okay, that person's gone free. Sure, good, you're gonna go. You got that correct. So just make sure you know what to do in both circumstances of live and dead EPW. I'll be talking a little bit more about dead EPW. So you're gonna break it down into clear and search. No matter what, you are always going to clear an objective. No matter what, that's always your first step after you do your SEALs and ACE report, is to clear it of any possible threats. So then people can actually start maneuvering on it and actually start working. So you're first going to clear the objective. Now here's an SOP that I like to do. What I see a lot in Cadet Command is they'll point out and they'll just pick a couple of random members from first squad. They'll be like, hey, Rifleman and SAW, Bravo team, you guys are both EPW and secondary aid and litter. And they'll go, okay, second squad, Alpha, Grenadier, and team leader. Or not team leader, but the SAW. You guys are both aid and litter, and then alternate EPW. First of all, it's gonna be really difficult for those 2 people to possibly move a casualty if they need to. Also, whenever they do EPW, there's no management happening. There's no leadership happening. It kind of just 2 people just start walking onto the objective. They see, oh, there's a body here and body here, and they just kind of walk over to this body. They perform, EPW, that they do their grenade check, they do the search, then they walk straight over to this body, and they do their grenade check, they do that, and they walk back to the LOA, they tap in their EPW, the 2 people on EPW, aid and litter, and they go and take someone off. In my opinion, there's a more organized way of performing EPW and aid and litter that not only is more organized and has a more efficient way of doing it, but also allows that first squad leader and second squad leader to get time for the cadre to see them and actually see their leadership skills. Actually gets to see them demonstrating themselves as leader, and can help the first squad leader and second squad leader now get a better grade at camp. So here's what I usually do. On security, and I've talked about this in other videos, but on security you have 4 SAWs, or on this LOA, you're gonna have 4 SAWs, 4 Grenadiers, and you're gonna have 8 team leaders and riflemen all together. So SAWs or 249s are probably our best weapons out of all of these. Have the most casualty producing weapon out of these 3 different tier lists, because this is the M4. So this comes first. Then our Grenadier can still do more than our M4 can, because they have the 203 attached. So now we have our 203. That's better than an M4. Now M4, the team leader and rifleman have the exact same M4, so there's nothing that they're bringing to the table that these 2 can't already do. And 4 SAWs and 4 Grenadiers are plenty enough to have LOA security if someone was to come up on the objective. So now we turn our 16 people that we have here on the LOA, and we only turn it into 8, while these 8 turn into our EPW primary and our secondary aid and litter. So I'm going to show you how that happens. So only these 8 stay on. The PL says EPW. They all show up, and PL's here. Possibly moves up from here to over to the LOA to start taking control of the situation, and he's going to be there with the first squad leader. So you're going to get all M4s, aka all team leaders and riflemen, off of this assaulting cell, and the first squad leader. The first squad leader is going to be in charge. So the PL is going to say, let's say the objective is over here. PL is going to look at everybody and say, okay, from my right to my left, clear. From my left to my right, search. 2 men to clear, 1 man to search. Bring all PIR and equipment to me. First squad leader, you're in charge. You have 2 minutes. Go. Has a set script that the first squad leader can already expect. And so what's going to happen is based off of this leadership skill, based off of this the ACE that influence whether or not we're going to clear, then search, then aid and litter, or whether or not we're going to clear, aid and litter, and search. Based off of that, it's going to be, okay, from my right to my left, clear. 2 men to clear, you have 2 minutes, go. And they'll clear, move over, and then first squad leader will tap in second squad leader. They'll go and do their aid and litter and do whatever they need to do. Then they'll come back and then they'll perform the search. But the search does not come before casualty assessment or the aid and litter. So, I know I got a little ahead of myself there, but let's go back. So, EPW, clear. We're going to clear this way in 2-man teams, all online. Let's move this strong side security again. And search this way, strong side security. Gosh, get them out of the way. So, the assault cell leader, aka first squad leader, is now going to become the main person in charge of this EPW line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, aka second squad, team leaders and riflemen, first squad, team leaders and riflemen. So they will clear this way in 2-man teams all the way up until they get to the PSG and the medic at the breach point, because that's where we breach the objective. So that's the last possible point. So they'll hit LOA, called by the assault cell leader, aka our first squad leader, is going to get all the way here. You see, let's say there's 2 bodies. So you're going to come up and body, body, body. They see body, 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 so they call it out. Everyone calls body, body, body. Everyone stops on the line. Everyone, let's say, stops right here. The 2 closest go and perform EPW on it. This is a basic, the basic EPW grenade check. Should be very simple. You don't actually perform the searching of them. You just clear their body of grenades, whether or not they're alive. You do death check, and then you get moving on for the rest of clear. Clearing's the most important. So body, body, body. They do death check, grenade check, nothing there, good. They both get back online. The first squad leader looks up and down and says, continue to the LOA. They keep moving along. They see another body, 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 body. Everyone calls it out. Everyone stops. The 2 closest then move to the body. They do death check. They do grenade check. They clear the body. They put it in an unnatural pose. Well, not just yet. They don't put it in an unnatural pose just yet. We'll do that on the search, once we know we've searched the body. So then we did that. They get back online. The first squad leader looks up and down the line. Make sure we have everyone back online. Continue to the LOA. They move all the way from here to the LOA, which is where the PSG and the medic are. So now they've cleared the entire objective. They're not just running to a single body, like what sometimes happens in Cadet Command, where they forget everything, run to body, call it a day. We want to make this more organized, more efficient, and actually give someone the ability to show off their leadership skills in an organized fashion. So now we've cleared this objective. So now they're all online here, all 8 and the first squad leaders over here. They're going to push back and search in 2 different teams. So again, this is our first squad, team leader rifleman, and then here's our second squad, team leader rifleman, with the first squad leader moving them forward, moving them from left to right of the PL, and they are now searching in 1-man teams. And so they're going to be going through, TTP I like to use, first squad gold, second squad black. So it's as simple as gold 1 AK, the RTO, keeping track of time and keeping track of PIR, will say gold 1 AK, because you want to make sure there's that call and response, and so they understand. So when they come back and they look at the list and they go, hey, did you say there's like an AK and gold? Be like, yes, you should have called and response, and you should have communicated. And say, black will say, black 1 radio, black 1 radio. They're also going to be looking at, let's say there's a munition stockpile. So they're actually going to have people go through that stockpile and actually be looking through it and writing down all the ammo types. Because that's something that people always forget to do, ammo cans. And on this, something I'm going to try implementing is putting some like honey buns or something in an ammo can, putting them fresh out on the objective, so I know whenever they do EPW search back, if they don't get it, like, oh, they don't get their honey buns. So that's something you could do. But remember, you got to do ammunition as well, because that's something that we're finding on the objective that can influence things in the future. So that could be ammo cans. That could be a UAV, an unmanned UAV somewhere. You know, you see a plane and you want to, don't mind my drawings, but you find a plane, you bring it back to the PL and RTO. And that is the end of EPW clear and search. So let's talk about aid and litter, fire in the whole sequence, and ruck retrieval, and what's going to be happening in those 3 things, because these can actually get pretty big. So let's start talking about, let's keep it just to attack. You're doing an attack and you're going to stay on the objective. You're staying on the objective, so you're just going to secure this objective. So let's talk about what the PSG's role is. So first of all, they need to secure the breach point. This is where all soldiers will be coming through, so we need to make sure that it is secure enough for all the soldiers to come through. We have our secure breach point. Then we also have establish a CCP. So establishing that CCP will be key for aid and litter. Then, after establishing the CCP, we also want to count people in. Part of that CCP is an HLZ. We'll talk about that a little bit later. So count people in, and then we got our ruck retrieval. And counting people in will be a part of the fire in the whole sequence, aka getting people onto the objective or getting everybody off the objective, depending on if you're staying in or if you're leaving and withdrawing from the entire objective. So, talk about secure the breach point. We secure the breach point as we clear the objective. Then, once they've cleared the objective, and let's say we have an aid and litter that we need to take care of, instead of searching back on EPW, we're actually going to swap out that first squad leader that's been in charge, and we're actually going to replace them with the second squad leader. So these two tap each other in. So now the first squad leader is now actually in charge of the LOA security. And now the second squad leader is in charge of all these team leaders and riflemen from first and second squad. So having 8 people allows us to efficiently move as many people as we need to in a fair amount of time. So let's say we have to come back and we have 2 casualties. We're going to move those 2 casualties to the CCP. The objective has been cleared. We can now walk freely on it. So we're going to get into the CCP. The medic or the PSG establishes CCP and an HLZ. So before all the shooting starts happening during our pre-planning of this mission, we're already going to have pre-designated HLZs that we set up based off of map reconnaissance. And so the medic can already start filling out a 9-line card for the PSG to call up, or the PL to call up to hire and do a 9-line medevac and get that second squad leader with all of EPW 8 and litter, so the 8 people, to move to that HLZ. So, as a PSG, as a platoon sergeant, you need to be understanding that there's about to be an element detached, how many people are leaving with them and aren't coming back, AKA our 2 people that got injured. So, we have 2 people, you're gonna move them to an HLZ. As a platoon sergeant, you still need to stay here though, while second squad is going off and doing their thing. So, before they move off and do their HLZ, so after they move to the HLZ and they set it up, we still have security. So we still have our strong side security and we still have our weak side security. So now they've come back. We now need to count people in. We need to start doing our fire in the hole sequence. So the PL calls the fire in the hole sequence. Once 8 and litter is done, that's when we'll do fire in the hole. Now what fire in the hole sequence is fire, instead of doing red, white, and blue, which is mostly done in cadet command, it really isn't done anywhere else because red, white, and blue are primarily used as phase lines in an objective, on an objective, or through a town. It's not really used as a withdrawal plan or, hey, let's get everyone onto the objective plan. So in my opinion, as cadet command, we need to start moving from red, white, and blue to fire in the hole sequence 1, fire in the hole sequence 2, fire in the hole 3. So, fire in the hole sequence 1, who moves onto the objective? Well, assault does. Because we fill on, we in place on the objective. Man, I'm just gonna cut that out. We go on to the objective, ass backwards, so we put our security, then we put our support by fire, then we put our assaulting element, and we also come off the objective or get everyone back onto the objective as forwards. So assault will first get on. So that just means this assault that went out and did the HLZ and came back, everyone on this line and the second squad leader, fire in the whole sequence 1 means they get back onto this LOA after they're done doing the HLZ. Then fire in the whole sequence 2. It's going to be our support by fire position. We've already talked about how they have 70% visibility of this objective, so they can already move to the breach point because they should be able to see the breach point. So they start moving on to the objective. Now, they've been counted in by the PSG because PSG needs full accountability of what's happening on this objective. So now the platoon, the PL will start to set out where they're going to put their support by fire, where they're going to put the 2 guns, aka our 2 most likely avenue of approaches. So, support by fire here, and then fire in the hole sequence 3. That's our security. So our security elements, they may not have seen the breach point. They probably won't see the breach point. So what they need to do is they need to move all the way back to the RP, because that was their last known point, was this RP. So as the PSG, you might have to move back to this RP to go pick up your boys and girls that have been on strong side and weak side security. So go pick them up, move back. You gotta have a lot of gotwas going on. You have to understand what's been happening on this objective at all times as the PSG. The job as a PSG is really done in the ORP and then also here on the objective, on actions on objective. You have a lot of responsibilities. So now security has came into the ORP. The PL is getting the leaders to actually start making that 360 security now in a proper fashion. that covers all avenues of approaches properly. So, and we've already done everything that we need to for the HLZ. We've counted people in. We've done all firing the whole sequences. Now, we have everyone back on the objective minus our 2 people that went with the 9-line medevac. So, let's go on to ruck retrieval. So, as a PSG or PL, and as someone in camp, you need to start setting up what are you going to do for your ruck retrieval. There's 2 outcomes that I've seen here at Cadet Command. The first one is that once you do all of this, you hit fire on the whole sequence, you're done. That sometimes happens, where it's like, okay, you got up there, and now everyone's just going to go back to our rucks, pick them up, and come back to the objective. And an admin move. We're going to go pick up our rucks and an admin move. The one that I experienced was that we now had to set up a tactical way of retrieving these rucks. And the way we did it was by having a pre-planned set of who was going to go to grab all these rucks. So let's say 41 people. Now, in order to go grab 41 rucks, we can do this in multiple different ways, but I say making one trip is probably the best thing you could possibly do. So 41 rucks. Well, PSGs are only going to grab one ruck because they need to be light and fast. So now we have 40 rucks that we need to go pick up. So the PSG is going to be on this. Let me put it over here. PSG. So the PSG is going to come, and we now have 40 rucks that we got to get. So we also need security when we're going through this. So who's the best people that we can take from security? Well, most likely it's going to be our saws. We can't really grab our 240s, so our saw is the next best weapon. So if we're going to be bringing, it seems like we're going to be bringing a lot of people, so we probably want to bring 3, we probably bring 4 of our saws, but we want to make sure we leave still a good amount over here on the objective as we go back to the release point to go pick up all of our rucks. So saws, and then from there, you might want to grab half from each element. The reason why is because once they move back to the RP, everybody takes 2 rucks, except for the saws, which take their own ruck, and except for the PSG, who takes their own ruck. They're also going to need a leader in the front, maybe our navigational person, so maybe first squad leader, because that'll still leave second squad leader, it'll still leave our third squad leader, and it'll still leave our PL, that still leaves our PL back here with our RTO, or maybe the RTO goes along and grabs the PL's ruck. So everyone going on this needs to grab their battle buddy's ruck. So you should essentially know everyone's ruck in your squad. So you take half a squad, so then they can go pick up their battle buddy's ruck, and once everyone's walking back in a line from the RP, everyone's carrying 2 rucks except for our security and our front and back element, our navigational and our accountability element. Once they get back, they go to their battle buddy, drop off their ruck, and they have their own ruck, and they get back onto security. And that's where we usually stopped it, was right then and there for ruck retrieval. So again, accountability, navigational, we have our security, and then from there, everyone at camp should be making up who are we going to take based off of how many people we have in this platoon, how many people need to actually go on this thing in order to grab every possible ruck that we can, all 41 of them. So that concludes actions on objective. The best part about these tactics that I presented today is it allows for every key duty position to actually have some roles and responsibilities that they can show off and demonstrate their leadership abilities while here on the objective. And they all make sense based on task and purpose. So I always like to say, if you think you have something that's more efficient, more organized, fits task and purpose, fits the principles of patrolling or any other principles and key tasks, and you believe it's a better way of doing something, put it down in the comments down below. I always want to become a better tactician, and I hope you do too. Now, to reiterate, the reason why we do this is so you don't have to worry about tactics at camp. All you have to worry about is doing the best that you can as a leader and presenting your leadership skills in the best way possible. So remember, strike first, strike hard, Rattler Battalion.